top London school bans Muslim prayer and won't back down. Michaela Community School, a leading secondary school in Brent, London, has ignited controversy on its recent ban on Muslim prayer, sparking a legal battle and a broader debate about religious expression in schools. The school, known for its strict discipline and high academic standards, faced a high court hearing after a Muslim student challenged the ban as discriminatory. Head teacher Katharine Birbalsingh, referred to as Britain's strictest head teacher, or principal, as we would say in America, defended the policy, stating that it was necessary to maintain a harmonious and inclusive learning environment. She argued that the prayer sessions led to disorder, peer pressure among students, and incidents of violence and racial harassment against teachers. Birbal Singh's stance is rooted in the belief that, quote, it is wrong to separate children according to religion or race, emphasizing the school's commitment to an environment free from bullying and harassment. The case reflects the complex challenges of balancing religious practices with educational policies in a diverse, multicultural society. So, I want to provide a little bit of background about this. So, there is this school in Greater London area that I believe is like the top secondary school for the past 2 years in the country, and is known for being very, very strict and having very high educational standards. And it was started like a little almost 10 years ago, I think. And here's, according to the school, this is the story. So the school has a very strict ethos, which is, for example, one of the policies is that we have a family style lunch. Everyone eats the same lunch. We give vegetarian meals to the students, full stop, because we do not division based on diet as informed by, say, religion. And they have silent corridors. They have, I think the school is built out of a converted office building, so it has, like, 7 stories, and the construction of it is kinda interesting, and they have very limited space. And there was, a complaint that there were not prayer rooms for the Muslim students. Now, this school started out having around a 30% Muslim student population. Today, the student population is 50% Muslim. So if they wanted to have prayer spaces, the
In
school would
London.
need, exactly, would need to completely reorganize their entire space and the entire way that they operate within their school space because of the restrictions on the space and also their own policies of silent corridors and like these kinds of things. And um so they cannot manage that accommodation, or so this is what they are saying. So, what happened, according to the school side of the story, is that there were incidences on the playground where students would be doing prayers. And here's the thing, they're really saying we can't stop anyone from praying just inside their head. Their contention is that they will not accommodate prayer ritual. And if we're being frank, it is mostly the Muslim students who would be involved in prayer ritual, doing salah, namaz, etc. And there was incidences that I think the way that I watched an interview with her, and it sounded like it started to be a problem around Ramadan, where other students, Muslim students, would start essentially internally morally policing other students about fasting, being like, "It's Ramadan, why aren't you fasting?" And then it became an incident where they would bully other students into doing namaz. They would bully other students into wearing the hijab.
Namaz, by the way, for people is like this, or salat is Islamic prayer.
And so it became an issue where students were essentially peer pressuring each other and doing religious policing on each other to peer pressure the other students into being more religious, bullying students into wearing the hijab, bullying students into praying, and it became an issue of, it began dividing the students, and it started creating disorder in the school. And when the school refused, this all started to, this, now that they're going to court, this is just the culmination of this incident, right? Um, the when they refused to have a Muslim prayer room, then there were threats against teachers, there were racial attacks against teachers, there were teachers that had bricks thrown through their homes, there were teachers that were threatened with death. And the school's decision is, we're not allowing prayer ritual. We're not going to allow you to create, as she said in the interviews that I watched, a quote unquote culture of intimidation. We will not allow a culture of intimidation in our school. And to be able to do that, we are not allowing prayer ritual. And according to her, she said that since they have instituted this policy, that the things have calmed down, order has been reestablished in the learning environment, and things have been able to continue without incident. Now, what the problem is that there was a complaint from a Muslim student that brought this issue to the court, saying that this is discriminatory and that this ban has fundamentally changed her view of what it means to be Muslim and British. And there are, again, I don't know how true this is, but there are allegations that the student who brought forward this ban had been suspended for attempting to stab someone before this complaint was brought forth. That's an allegation. I have no idea how true that is, because especially the headmaster, Katharine Birbalsingh, when asked about it specifically, she refused to comment. So I don't know if that's true. Um, but if it's true, that is important context. And well, I mean, there's a few reactions that I want to talk about, but Armand, I'll get your reaction first. What would you do in this
I,
situation?
I would do what she does, except they're not giving the kids meat part. Give those kids some meat. Like, do they not give them meat? Okay, that's
They
not the
give them
important
protein,
part.
they give them eggs.
They need meat, not just protein. That's another topic. How is this? This is my main concern. How is a school in London is going from 30% Muslim to 50% Muslim? Like, why is this happening? Like, is this like,
I
how
don't
is
know,
that
maybe it's
happening?
just the neighborhood that they're in.
50% Muslim in schools in Britain.
I
That is
mean,
not
in
even
London, that's not
it's not even an
impractical.
okay. London has is it when people say London has fallen, sometimes I feel like they're exaggerating, and then you tell me schools in London are becoming 50% Muslim. I'm
It
like,
depends on the neighborhood,
maybe.
Norman.
Yeah, I know, but it went from 30 to 50.
Well, if
Um,
anything, that shows that since the school's establishment, it is attracting people who want high educational standards. And she says that before people at this school, she has a conversations with parents to tell them about all the restrictions they have on student life, that they have very strict standards that result in all children going to detention a lot because they're known for being very, very strict. Like, so she has a conversation with all the families that come into the school about what they're signing up for and what that entails, including the meal restrictions. For example, she said in an interview, there have been Hindu families that have complaints and contentions that there are eggs that are touching the plates of their children and asked for different accommodations, and she has refused.
oh,
There have been Christians that
so
have contentions and complaints that there's like some school prep things that happen on Sunday and they want accommodations. She has refused. There are many other communities that have complained about their policies and how it interferes with their specific religious rituals, and she has consistently refused because she refuses to let students be separated on the basis of race and religion. And so she says that if I have a different policy for this, then I'm losing the ethos of the Michaela school.
what do you mean touching?
That's how
Their
she
eggs are
described it.
touching?
That's how she described it, like, when they're serving
Mm,
food, essentially, that their eggs touching the plates, I'm assuming. That she just said the
mm.
word she used was touching the plates.
Okay, so they're getting eggs. That's good news. At least they're not going full vegan. At least that's a good news. Um, yeah, but again, I'm concerned about this. There's going to be a major backlash to this. This is not the end of the story. I think like we're going to have Muslims in London, the parents of these kids are not going to be like, oh, okay. Here's my guess. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I don't think this is the end of this news. It's not going to be like the Muslim parents are going to be like, oh, okay, sorry, we thought it was allowed, and now we're not going to pray. We're going to respect the school's rules. Okay, like they're not. That's not going to be the end of this. It's going to be a major back and forth, I think. So we'll see. I think there's going to be a
Well,
major
yeah, especially
backlash.
considering that teachers are always having bricks thrown through their walls.
Right,
There are
right.
people being
It's going to
threatened
get
with death.
violent. Is this woman's safety right now? Do you think this woman needs to be concerned about her safety? Do you think I'm exaggerating, or is that something that we need to think about?
No, I don't think so because she talks about it.
Hmm.
And that
Okay.
for a
Oh,
long
she
time
talks
when
about
this
her
when
safety.
this court case was coming up, there was a long time that the school was not identified. And she actually fought to keep the school unidentified in the court records until the judge removed the gag
Okay.
order on having that name be revealed because she was specifically worried about threats to education. She wants to maintain a certain educational space. And she said, this has
Okay.
nothing to do with Islam. When other religious communities come forward and have contentions about our policies, I explain again what our stance is as a school, our ethos as a school, and I explain to them, to each family as they signed up to be a part of the school and what it entails.
Okay. This is I think, where do you think London is going to be like in 20 years? Like, we're not going in the right direction. I think things are going to might get, again, I don't know, but it seems like things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better.
I
Right?
don't know.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
people like
I'm
Douglas Murray think that Europe is already essentially a time bomb, a demographic time bomb. It's already over. That's
Yes,
what a lot of people.
sometimes I feel like they're exaggerating, and sometimes I feel like maybe they're not. So I don't know. I don't know. But things like news like this, things makes me feel like, yeah, I'm glad I don't live in London. That's what I feel.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not
But
there.
she's not backing down, and I think that's really
Good.
appreciated.
That's
And
very heroic.
I've read this article in The Guardian, and it was a Muslim secondary school teacher talking about her opinion on this and how this promotes a very insidious view of what it means to be British, where we're all just supposed to like look different, but all think the same, or be blank slates on the inside that have like no rituals or beliefs of their own. And she's like, "Well, I'm a Muslim and I do my prayers every day, and it doesn't disturb anyone." And I read the article, this editorial or opinion piece, and I thought it was so dishonest because the entire issue that they have in the school is that it is fostering a quote unquote culture of intimidation. If there is any culture of intimidation happening in a secondary school, that is the concern and duty of the people who are wardens of these children to interfere in that kind of culture and environment. In what situation are we supposed to allow a culture of intimidation amongst children? If it was bullying in any other context, parents would rightfully lose their. If I was a parent, I would lose my shit. If the teachers who are charged with the protection and well being of my child were refusing to interfere because
Mm,
of some sensitivity, that's their duty when they're handed over these young people every day.
right.
Otherwise, I think it's a dereliction of duty and neglect. So I don't know. I think it's like again begging for special treatment, begging for special privilege, begging for special pardon. And
Right.
I think it's wrong. And the threats and intimidation and harassment that comes as a result of it, I think speaks for itself because I don't know this for a fact, but I would warrant a guess that when Hindu families don't like eggs being placed on the plates of their children, that they're not racially attacking teachers and throwing bricks through their windows. Just a guess. So who would ever wonder, oh my God, where are children learning this culture of intimidation where we need to internally police each other? I don't know.
We got a couple of super chats and
Ooh.
also two comments that I wanted to do the super chat. Oh well, actually, the comments I highlighted. Oh, so Eric was saying, Armin, I agree. Kids need more protein in their meals. Vegetables don't quite cut it. It's not just the fact that they need more protein. It's there's so many things in meat that is beyond just protein that you don't get from other places. So you do need meat beyond, because when it comes to amino acid profile, the eggs that they're eating, that is covers everything when it comes to protein wise that you need. When it comes to the egg white. But again, you need meat, guys. You eat meat. Eat more meat. I mean, I think it's good for you, especially seafood. Seafood is really good for you. Don't cut
I love
that. Don't
seafood
cut
so
that stuff.
much.
Don't cut that out. Don't cut that out. Norseman. Oh,
Oh,
wait.
sorry. Go for it.
This is
Go.
no, no. You go. You go ahead. Which one do you
No,
want to
no, you
highlight?
go first.
Okay, North Pathology is saying this is why the farts right wing is winning elections. Yes, you know, Susie, when we have the return of far right. Okay. This time around, I'm going to focus blaming the woke. Okay. Mostly because we already have established here that far right is, you know, pure lunacy. And everybody knows that. Everybody, at least most of our audience, knows that. And I think like they're gonna have a comeback. And given that these woke progressives are responsible for a lot of the policies that makes them win in elections, and given that they are the ones who have opened the doors to their countries for all of these Islamists to come in to make immigration, lack of filters for immigration, because immigration is good. Immigration is a good thing. The problem is that the woke left doesn't know how to do immigration right. They just open the floodgates. And immigration works when you have proper screening. You could
And
have
high
high
standards.
numbers of immigration. What?
And
And
high
and what?
standards.
Yes, you need to have high standards for your immigration. You need to have very, 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 very strict screening, and then you could have high numbers of immigrants as long as you have a very strict screening criteria. And now, because of the far right is just anti-immigration in general, and you did such a horrible job just opening the door to your country, to the worst of people, with the worst of values, now they're gonna go come back in power, and it's all your fault. And I'm just gonna focus on you making that happen. So, and that's my policy going forward when it comes to far right coming into power. What do you think?
I mean,
Yeah.
we talk all the time about leftists enabling and appeasing terrorists basically for their own means to stay in power. So it's just biting you ass, and no one is surprised.
Yeah.
Um, oh my God, my boyfriend talks to me about the stuff that leftists do in his country, and I am shocked with the lengths they are willing to go to embrace terrorism for the sake of their own political expediency.
Which country we're talking?
Well, I don't want to say, but
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I start to get heated. um, Sid Day gave us a super chat saying Muslims are always looking to create a parallel society. Once again, I don't like to say always because, like, for example, here in
So,
America, I know some
mini.
Muslims that are more like ho ho American than me. But
Sid,
this
just
is
put
an
a
instance.
mini. Yeah.
Yeah. This school instance, they literally said that there is like a parent. The students are
But
promoting segregation amongst themselves, and we're putting a stop to it. So that's an example.
before you remove that super chat, Sid, just put a mini in front of that, just so that it's more accurate. Just put a mini. It will then be then we will completely agree with it. Yeah.
Mhm. And Sid also gave a super chat saying, "Wherever Islam goes, desert follows." I'm not exactly sure what this means, but I just had a mental image of like, I don't know, like Chechnya, like being overtaken by like deserts of Saudi Arabia. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
'cause,
beautiful. Actually, we should make that. Somebody should make that with AI.
um,
I
Cajun
know what
Mary
that means, but
had a
and I
chat
agree. Mm.
saying, in China Kids take noon naps as a leftover from Taoist teachings. I think American schools should adopt this. I agree. I mean, there are many cultures that have a siesta, and it's actually very good for us. And there's neuroscientific evidence about how, like, a 20-minute nap
Yes.
at 2 o'clock is actually very good for our productivity.
But do it because we have evidence for it that works, not because it's Taoist teaching. Okay,
And we do have evidence.
we do.
Um, Sun on the Ascendant gave us, oh, New Zealand dollars. Thank you for the
Thank
big
you.
super chat saying good morning from New Zealand. Well, good
Well, good
morning to
morning
you
to you as
too,
well. Yes.
or good
Thank you
afternoon,
for that.
depending on where you are. Maybe it's
Very, very early morning for New Zealand. I'm surprised you're awake.
um
Thank you.
does Spain do that because of Taoist teachings? Oh yes, the famous Taoist conquest of Spain. um oops. Okay. So uh let okay. Someone is saying, Susie, it's not 20 minutes nap, it's 3 hours. What I'm talking about is based on my understanding of neuroscientific data and evidence. It's like a 25, 24-minute nap around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That is like the perfect level to have a little rest, get some bump in productivity, but not so much that you become groggy
Right. Oh, before
based on
we
what I
end this,
learned
I
from
just
Dr.
want
Medina.
two things. First of all, like the stream, guys. Like the stream. Again, nobody is allowed to leave the stream without liking it right now. Once the stream is over, leave a comment under the show. Make sure check if you're subscribed. Sometimes for some reasons the subscribe just like even though you're subscribed, YouTube decides to take it away. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have hit the bell notification and then you have selected all. Check the recent messages you have sent to your friends and to your enemies. See if any of those messages include you recommending them to subscribe to Atheist Republic. And if it's not there, then fix that. Make sure you tell them to come subscribe to Atheist Republic. And yeah, liking doesn't take much effort. So please do that. It really supports our show. And Susanna, can I put your email again in the live chat for people to contact us? Because our Facebook page of more than 2 million followers has been poof, it's gone because YouTube decided, Facebook decided that. I don't know actually what they decided because it didn't tell us. They just told us like bye bye, and we're like why or like I don't know. So if
We
you
can't even
know
check the
anybody,
page quality.
yes, we can't even check that. They don't even tell us, right? They're just like bye. It's been nice knowing you for the past, I don't know, it's been like how many years? 12
Over
years,
10 years.
with 2
We
million,
built this
10
platform over
years.
10 years.
10 years, but just take it away like that without any explanations. So if you know anybody at Facebook or if you work at Facebook, please email Susanna. You can see her email there is Susanna at atheistrepublic.com, and Susanna is spelled Susanna. So please make sure you email her. And before we go, we got another super chat. Guys, as you saw, we
Ooh.
get demonetized for these shows. So any form of donation really helps us cover our costs because we wouldn't be able to do all these streams with all these demonetization. Our show wouldn't make any sense. So the fact that you're giving us super chats, the fact that you're becoming patrons, the fact that you're becoming PayPal donors are amazing. Monthly payment, like if you want to donate on PayPal, select the monthly option. That really helps us out. PayPal link is in the description. Or like we have another option. If you go on our YouTube videos, like the previous ones, there's a donate button there that through YouTube, charity directly, that will make 100% of it will come to us. YouTube does not take a cent. So you could do that as well. But also the super chats are really fun because we see your comment and we get to thank you live in real time. So you could use that as well. And so, yeah, let's read the last super chat before we go.
Sid Dave just gave a super chat thank you saying, "What do you think of Buddha? He was a good man." He's definitely had a lot of, well, I really like any teachings surrounding like non-attachment or things that kind of almost take like a stoic flavor, I think are very helpful to me personally as someone with an anxiety disorder. Um,
Yeah.
but Armin, I think you would probably have a more humorous, funny opinion about Buddha. So
Well, I mean, Buddha probably was a good man if he was real, but so was Marx. If a good man means a good person, a person with good intentions, trying to help people. Yeah, Buddha seemed like a good guy. But Marx also was a guy that probably had good intentions for people, and he ruined the goddamn planet. Okay, so being a good person, so being a good person doesn't necessarily mean that your teachings are good, right? So Buddha's teachings are horrible. If you want lack of attachment, go the Stoic route rather than the Buddha route. Stoicism seems to be more um less based on mumbo jumbo, more on this life rather than superstitious beliefs.
Mm.
Buddha's teachings are destructive and horrible, especially because it maintains the belief in karma and reincarnation, and these are harmful, destructive beliefs. Any ideology that promotes the idea that there's something after death is a very, very destructive ideology. It completely ruins the calculations when it comes to finding what is the best thing to do to maximize utility, right? Stoicism, if you are looking for lack of attachment, not Buddhism.
Well, Stoicism has like a quasi religious relationship to capital N nature.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's pantheism before, you know, Spinoza. Like what they refer to as God seems like a reference to nature as a whole rather than God, as in entity that thinks, that judges. So it seems like a more
Or like a
pantheistic view on
divine,
God.
overarching,
Yes, yes.
intergenerational system of
It's
justice.
it's their God is basically Spinoza's God before Spinoza was a thing. They call nature God. So
It's just
again,
because
and even
Stoicism is Western and you're a self-hating
oh yeah.
Orientalist.
Yeah,
Oh my
well.
god.
So. Oh, we got another super chat. They don't want us to leave, Susie.
I know. All colors is saying existentialism and nihilism are much better in my humble opinion. Okay, I mean,
Depends.
it depends. I mean, nihilism is a logical conclusion of atheism in many ways, and then existentialism is the step above that. And then for me, as a broad existentialist, I think the kind of philosophy that best gives meaning to my life is stoicism. So
Right. Well, we have optimistic nihilism as well, right? So if you believe that life has no meaning, but I could make up meaning for it, like that's a more optimistic nihilism. There is such a thing as an optimistic nihilism. Do you know that? Like if you there's pessimistic nihilism that makes you depressed, and there's optimistic, like not all nihilism makes you depressed. There's optimistic nihilism that makes you say the universe doesn't give me any meaning, but I don't give a crap that the universe doesn't give me any meaning. I will give my life meaning myself. So that version of nihilism I like. Oh, we got more super chats. We
wait,
can't.
is
Well,
that not
Susie, we're
just
gonna
what
be here.
existentialism is? That's just
Yeah, I mean,
existentialism.
y- yeah, I
Or you
mean,
could go the absurdism
the,
route.
well, I mean, we could talk definitions forever. I don't want to get to that.
Yeah. I like a
People
lot of
disagree
absurdism
over.
is really interesting. And again, a lot of it
Right.
fits very neatly into stoicism in many ways. Um, all colors is saying not Nietzsche though, Schopenhauer, pessimism.
Mm.
Those aren't full
All right.
sentences.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to say. Those are words. Anyways, we have to move on. Oh my God, Isida Veblis is using his 6 months membership to say, you want to read?
Absurdism is nihilism on LSD, LOL. And that's why it's fun.
Oh, yeah. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube? Blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.